over here in New Delhi, you can imagine the shock over here because we've been told for decades about the ascending sort of U.S.-India relationship and how the U.S. considered us as a counterweight to China over here. From my conversation with you, it seems that there's a dramatic realignment happening over here.
The Quad still exists. The Americans are still committed to their troops on the ground in Japan, in South Korea. There is a very significant amount of American military capability with exercises, training, intelligence sharing around the South China Sea. Um, I I don't think that's going to suddenly go away
Hmm.
over the course of the Trump administration. There is a hemispheric tilt. There is more focus on U.S. border security, a lot more money for ICE, which is the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. There's, of course, this Venezuela issue, which has a lot to do with drug interdiction.
Yes.
Now that the Mexico border has been secured. Um, but I do accept that the broader idea that India is a long-term strategic counterweight to China for the United States, this is an administration that doesn't think very much about long-term strategic counterweights. I mean, they don't even really want a strong Europe, which is the principal counterweight to everything. Their
Yes.
view is, this is really, we'd be better off with a weak Europe because we can get better deals with individual weak European countries than we can with an EU that is coherent and holds together as a common market. So, I mean, if the Americans aren't even interested in a strong Europe, it's hard to imagine they're going to be very interested in a strong India.
Hmm.
And that I think it's more unilateralist
Yes.
in orientation. And I think, the interesting thing is I speak with leaders around the world, and mostly leaders or friends of the United States, but some adversaries too. What they're finding is that the Americans are not just unpredictable, but they're unreliable. And unpredictability, it makes you, make sure that you have resilience because, you want to take a bus, it might be late. Unreliability means you can't take the bus. Bus
Right.
might not get there. And that I think is a much harder thing for American friends and partners and allies to swallow.
And how would you advise New Delhi about this new unreliability when we have India-US defense deals in the pipeline?
It's longer term hedging. I mean, the Brazilians are seeing this to a much more urgent degree, even though they run a trade deficit with the United States, because Supreme Court has taken action against Bolsonaro that Trump doesn't like. And so now they're getting hit, and the consequences are much more damaging than they
Hmm.
are economically for India on the back of this fallout. So what's Brazil doing? They are trying to build stronger trade relations with everyone, with EFTA, with the EU, with ASEAN, with India, with Mexico, with Canada. And I would say, look at what Lula's doing
Hmm.
and apply that to India over the longer term, right? I mean, that is the principal decision that occurs. It's greater resilience. It's larger investments in existing institutions and more leadership because it's easier to maintain institutions than build new ones. And it's
Hmm.
hedging with stronger relations with other countries. And of course, it's stabilizing China. I think it was Modi's to be congratulated for his efforts to reach out to Xi Jinping, not to build a friendship, not to build an alliance, but to stabilize the relationship, which is good not just for India and China, but frankly, it's good for the world.
Hmm.
I mean, we don't want World War III.
Okay.
And if the Americans are not going to be leaders in 2025, it's incumbent on other countries around the world to do more to stabilize the global environment. And I do think that India has been playing a commendable role in trying to be a part of that.